Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unique Peace. I am Janice. I'm a Reiki Master Teacher and Psychic Medium here on Long Island, New York. I am also the host of Unique Peace, the podcast all about peace. And today I'm excited to have Winston Meikle on the show. He is a nurse, a veteran nurse of 40 years in the business. He is also the founder of Loving Care Partners and the COO of Mobile Lab Techs, which services the New York, New Jersey area, offering diagnostic and testing services to the areas. He is also the author of The Power of Love, a new model of self-healing and wellness. Thank you, everyone, for joining me and welcoming Winston.
Thank you. Hello, Janice, and thank you for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today.
And so, Winston, I like to always ask, what is your background? Who are you?
Hi. I am a veteran nurse healer. I've been in the field of nursing and service for humanity my entire adult life. It started when I was in high school. It started when I thought I wanted to be a doctor, and I approached a guidance counselor to give me guidance into courses in high school that would prepare me for track for pre-medicine in college. And he guided me towards an LPN program that was offered to high school students at a vocational school that had a relationship with the high school. And I took that as a senior and
I think we lost him.
and completed it 7 months after.
And what made you stay in nursing and not take that track to MD?
I found that I found a calling. I found a place where I can apply my skills in helping others in a more profound way. And the track to medicine seemed long and protracted and a long way off to getting to a place where I would be actually helping people, before, I completed all the requirements to become a physician, the years of school, residency, fellowship, specialties areas, joining a practice as the low man on the totem pole, being the one to take all the calls, and not having a life until I was in my mid-40s. So as a young man, I saw that nursing, I could be equally contributing or probably more contributing as a nurse in the service for humanity and helping people to, find health and wellness and healing scenarios more rapidly than the track to medicine. And as I worked as a nurse, as a young nurse, I fell in love with the feeling of the effectiveness of actually seeing my work result in people being better. I fell in love with that feeling. I got addicted to that, to seeing the results of my efforts showing up as someone's life improving, either physically, spiritually, emotionally, or otherwise.
And now you went and did the LPN program. Are you an RN or did you stay LPN?
I was an LPN for 6 years and then became an RN. And now I hold a master's degree in nursing and a master's degree in business with a healthcare administration focus. I'm now a nurse administrator. I am the assistant director of nursing and women in the hospitals here in northern New Jersey, where I cover the emergency room, the intensive care unit, the step-down unit, the medical surgical unit, and the drug detox unit.
That's a lot of units. I used to babysit. I was an after-school nanny for a NECU nurse, and she worked her way up into administration as well.
Yes.
And it's a lot.
I'm also a nurse educator. I also am a clinical professor from universities in this area as well. I teach senior nurses, and my class is Transition to Professional Practice, where I get senior nurses prepared for their real nursing experience, where I transition them from being students to actual practitioners of nursing.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. And so you went into nursing in high school and you never looked back. And in what I'm reading from your book is you took a you somewhere along the line, you took a holistic approach to.
Yes, it's not just a holistic approach. It's a new ontological perspective. Now, the book you referred to is my second venture. My first book is The Power of Love, a Nursing Theory, When Science Meets Spirit, a New Kind of Nurse is Born, which is written and directed towards nurses and healthcare professionals in direct patient care scenarios to help guide them to a new approach to care delivery that incorporates and recognizes the energetic reality that we exist in. And it bridges the gap between science and spirituality and recognizing that they're one and the same and not diametrically opposed, and just using two different languages to explain the same phenomenon. Ancient wisdom traditions have been suggesting things that modern advanced sciences are now proving through research and experimentations.
I'm so glad you brought that into this picture, because I was going to ask you, with the spirituality and the science, you clearly understand the melding, but how has that shaped your definition of peace? You went into nursing as a young man, you have taken and grown, and you've combined everything you know into this power of love. Both books surround love. So
Yes.
how does that help you to make your personal definition of peace?
Well, when you understand that love is the foundational environment of our existence, it's where everything springs forth. Everything that is good springs forth from a love environment, from a love orientation, from a love perspective. And peace is the conditions, situations, and environment that allows that to flow effortlessly and naturally. And the conditions that allow love to exist without work, without effort, without trying, just to exist in a space of love and peace.
And what is your personal definition of peace?
My personal peace would be a harmonious, energetic existence where your energy is in harmony with the universal energies and you're close to source.
And with that personal definition of peace, how do you bring peace into your life, in your daily life, in just getting through the day?
Keeping a love-based perspective in all that I do. I often say that regardless of what you may be encountering and experiencing, the most loving response will always be the best response. So just operating from a love-based perspective. I tell my students, because healthcare is so steeped in fear-based orientations, very early on, the students are oriented to a fear-based perspective by telling them that the institutions and the education environment tells them you're working hard to obtain your license. Be afraid of losing it. Don't do anything to lose your license. Be afraid of doing something wrong. Be afraid of not getting the outcomes that you want. Be afraid, just a fear-based orientation. And when I meet new students and they come to my clinical experience, one of the first things that I tell them is abandon that fear-based orientation. We're not going to practice fear-based nursing in this class. We're going to practice a love-based nursing, and we're going to bring our most loving presence to our patient experiences so that we can provide and facilitate the best possible outcomes that we can achieve through that and that orientation of love. Bring in your expertise, your knowledge, your confidence, and your intentions to achieve that into the experience will bring about the best possible outcomes that we could achieve and create for our patients.
I love that you teach from that perspective, because your nurses outside of like you're in triage, or you're waiting for the doctor, or what have you, in the hospital environment and a clinical like urgent care environment, or even at the pediatrician, because my son, I saw the nurse a lot, or even your own internist. Nurses are the first line in healthcare. They're the first people you meet. You're trying to quell fears. You're trying to help a person through this. I mean, a person can come in and be exacerbating a situation because of fear. It's like, I mean, a lot of us, I'm guilty, can go from 0 to worst case scenario in 60 seconds or less. And a nurse is there to help you, not only help, but ease that pain. And if they're just as fearful of doing something wrong or giving you the wrong information, it's difficult to do your job and come off as a caring person. Whereas your perspective is, when you do this, you are bringing in all of you and you're that caring person. You don't have to be anybody else.
So now there's another thing that I've learned. I'm not sure where I got it from, but I use it all the time. And it goes, no one cares what you know until they know that you care. So,
Yeah.
And the presence that you bring into the scenario will have an impact on how things go and how the patient responds to the therapeutic interventions that we want to apply. So if you come in with a highly anxious, fear-based orientation within your energetic presence, you're transmitting that into the field that you're sharing with that patient. The energetic field that we exist in and overlap with when we're two people are together, you're bringing that energy into that field, and you don't have to say a word in order for them to feel it and understand and experience that fear and anxiety. So being mindful of your energetic presence is profound, and so managing your own thoughts and emotions in interactions with patients is very important. There's a nursing theorist of the past by the name of Madeline Leininger, and her theory is based in culturally competent care. And in her theory, we're not being asked to know and understand all the different cultures and cultural expressions that we may encounter as nurses, because we don't get to pick and choose who we are tasked to take care of. So the objective is to manage our own personal biases so that we are receptive and understanding of cultural differences that are not our own. And when we experience things from patients from different cultures, we don't judge them or, reject them or give them negative responses to things that are normal to their culture. Okay, so that, and from that perspective, I think that as nurses, we should manage our ontological biases, our ideas of what reality is, our ideas of what an emotional response should be, an idea of how someone should respond to their condition or the information surrounding their condition. We should not be judgmental. We should be guiding from a loving perspective. We should help them to orient themselves to a love-based orientation with confidence, and help them manage their thoughts and emotions so that they can bring about the best possible outcome for themselves through being actively participating in their recovery with the right orientation, the right perspectives.
And that is a challenge worth undertaking, especially in healthcare today and in people who just want to work with medicine and seek alternatives at the same time. And what I mean by that is, my son was diagnosed with ADHD at a very young age. It was like kindergarten or so. Not as, when I say young age, it was before the first grade. And I was a nomad's mom. I was very adamant that we're going to work through this without putting him on medication. And we were lucky enough to have a neurologist, and in his office, I had the practitioner that understood and was willing to work with me without putting my son on meds. And they put me with her because I was flat out, my kid's not going on meds. It's like, well, then you get to go to this lady because she's going to help you.
That's good that they aligned you with someone whose perspectives are in alignment with yours, whose ability to apply therapeutic interventions are in alignment with your perspectives and your beliefs and ideas. That's important.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, no one cares what you know until they know that you care.
Exactly. And so you kind of touched on this already, and how you bring peace to your life, but how are you bringing peace to others?
How I bring peace to others?
Yes.
By being in peace myself, by bringing that in. Now, in my book, I refer to our quantum reality.
And this is the upcoming book? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yes, we're energetic beings in an energetic reality in a love-based conscious universe. So, managing our energetic expressions. You know, a nurse can walk into a room and before saying a word can change the energetic environment by the emotions and energy that they bring into the space, right? They can just the fear, if they come into the room with fear and anxiety, the energy of the room can change before they say a word.
Yeah.
So being mindful of that, being mindful of that's our reality, we can act purposefully in bringing the right energy into experiences that are shared between nurse and patients. So being mindful of that, you can come in with confidence and positive intentions and a love-based orientation so that you can transmit that into the shared environment.
And touching on both books, specifically the self-care, self-healing and wellness, which is book number 2. How do the books mirror each other, and how do they differ from each other? What's the perspective there?
Well, they're both based on my theory. My theory of our nine guiding principles of energetic reality, conscious intentions, and other 7 guiding principles. But the first book is written and directed towards nurses and healthcare providers. The second book is written and directed towards the recipients of care, everyone else who is not in the healthcare provider experience. Recipients of care, so the average person walking down the street, it helps to guide them into their reality, their energetic reality, and how they can manifest better outcomes for themselves through their management of their thoughts, emotions, words, and intentions. You know, be mindful of the fact that your words matter, your emotions matter, you know, your self-talk matters, and because quantum physics is a scientific support for the idea that mind over matter is a real thing. Okay, it's just one of the scientific experiments that demonstrates that our subjective thoughts can have an impact on our objective, observable physical reality. Right, that's just one of them. There's others. Poeck's chicken robot experiment. I don't know if you were familiar. There's an experiment, a French researcher who had a robot that was in a confined space and had a random numbers generator program that directed the robot to randomly cover that entire space, moving around randomly inside of this parameter. And Then they put newly hatched eggs at one side of the field that the robot was in, the newly hatched chicks, and the chicks bonded or how do you say it? What's the term? I forget the term. Saw the robot as its mother.
Right. Okay. I think I do. I think I'm vaguely familiar with this experiment.
And then it changed the robot's programming to where the robot now spent its time in close proximity to the side where the eggs are. Now, that is the demonstration of the fact that the chick's intentions, the fact that they bonded with this robot or they fixated on the robot, it changed the robot's programming to where now it's not randomly working its way in the field. It's now being attracted to the side of the field where the chicks were. Now that's a defiance of what conventional science explains. Right? Conventional science does not suggest that the intentions of a lower form of animal like a baby chicken can now change the programming within an inanimate object. Right? So that just suggests that the consciousness of the chicks now have an effect on the world outside of them, right? And changed how the robot acted and behaved in defiance of its program.
This kind of touches on your acknowledge, accept, adopt, and actualize.
Yes, you saw that. Well, you see now.
Wait a second. This sounds familiar.
Now that change theory or change protocol is really talking about how to make the shift in perspective for people who might be absorbing the content, right? It speaks to the process by which you come to bring this about into your reality. I wrote the book and I presented scientific basis for my perspectives. I presented different scientific studies and research and information that supports the concepts in my theory. But, so in presenting them, the process to come from not understanding it to now making it part of you is that chain of events, where you acknowledge this information through the exposure to the scientific basis for this concept. And after you get exposed to that, you acknowledge it, and then you accept it and say, okay, I can accept this as a feasible perspective because you've demonstrated this through the scientific information that you provide. And then after you accept it, you adopt it and you put it into practice and you try to apply it in as many ways in your life as possible. And in so doing, you get to a point where you actualize it, and now it becomes a natural part of your being instead of something you're trying to do. And that's the 4 A's process for a change in perspective as it relates to this theory.
And that's great because that's the way it actually plays out.
Yes, that's the natural progression of change from, being exposed to some new knowledge and information and how you make it a part of yourself, part of your reality.
And how does that help you with, I love to ask what's in your toolbox. So that's like you're dealing with, we'll go to the classroom and you're helping students unlearn some programming around fear. So or reprogramming or a little rewiring here. How does that help you bring them peace by kind of taking them through the 4 A's, so to speak?
Demonstrating its effectiveness, being proof of the pudding myself, showing how I can encounter and engage with a difficult person who is steeped in fear themselves and change their orientation by bringing my most loving presence, by, telling them, by living and being, that no one cares what you know until they know that you care into the environment. You know, when the patients experience and encounter healthcare professionals, the healthcare professional that comes into the environment with calm, confidence, loving, caring, energetic presence is well received every time. You know, when you, I tell my students, go in there, go meet Mr. So and so, and when you do, get inside their heads, make a connection, connect with that person, let them know that you're there to care for them, and be genuine, be authentic, because that's what we're here for. Make them know this, and when they know this, then they'll trust you. And when they trust you, now you have that engagement where they'll allow you to guide them. Okay, they'll be willing to go along with your directives and instructions, because they'll believe that you're actually there for healing presence and you're going to help. So I demonstrate it, when I send them in and they, oh, Mr. So and so was so mean, and so he said this and that, and I said, okay, let's go in together. Let's go in together now, and I'll meet Mr. So and so, and we'll talk to him. And I engage with them, and I talk to them. And when I talk to my patients, I use vernacular that they use. I use language that they use. I use the energy that they use, so that I'm not speaking over their head. I'm not trying to subordinate them because I'm the big time nurse and I'm more now. No, I come from humility and a presence of, I care about you, and whatever it takes to connect with you is what I'll do, so that I can gain that trust and get you to go along with the therapeutic environment interventions that I wish to implement. I make that connection. I tell them, get inside their heads, make a connection. When you make that connection, you've got them, and then you can guide them. They'll follow you. They'll follow your guidance at that point. So come with the confidence, the calm, the positive energetic presence, and the caring in how you interact with them. If you're fearful, they're going to feel it. If you're anxious, they're going to feel it. And if you're anxious and you're fearful, they start to believe that they have reason to be fearful themselves. And that's what will be expressed from them.
Energy is currency.
Absolutely.
And so you indicated that the power of love for holistic self-healing and wellness is available to the general population of us.
Yes.
Where would we find it?
That would be at my okay. That book is in publishing stage now. The Power of Love and Nursing Theory is available at my author's website, poweroflovetheory.com.
Okay.
And that will be available within the next month, the self-healing version. And
okay.
that will be followed by a parenting book that would help guide parents in orienting their children into this love-based perspective of their reality, of their energetic reality. Understand that their thoughts, words, and intentions matter in what they create for themselves. And then that will be followed by a series of children's books that teach children this idea at different developmental stages, starting with young children, preteens, and then teenage children, so they can grow into and grow through this education information.
That is great. And we look forward to those, especially my son is older now. He has graduated from high school, but anybody who's looking for that kind of help, because a parenting and trying to have children who just want to fit in, so that preteen phase is the most difficult and the most guidance, especially when guiding from love and helping kids understand that you're, when they're little, they're going to do whatever you tell them. Then they become preteens and adolescents, and they're going to challenge everything. that guidance is important.
Yes, they have to have a love-based orientation to their reality. They have to understand that there's more going on in their reality than the five senses explains, more going on than conventional sciences explains, and a lot of the ancient wisdom traditions explanations are now being proven by advanced scientific study and research. So the spiritual perspective is well founded. If you're oriented to the fact that we're living in an energetic reality, your thoughts, words, emotions, and intentions will create your reality because we're living in a participatory energetic reality. We are co-creators of our reality.
Yes. And as we draw to a close today, Winston, I would like to ask you if there are any additional thoughts on peace you want to share with us today.
As I said earlier, and I think this is probably the most potent thing I can say, that is no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're encountering, no matter what you're experiencing. I think Stephen A. Covey said in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that between stimulus and response is the opportunity to choose your response. Right? And I take that a little bit further and would say that the most loving response will always be the best response. The most love-based response will always be the best response. So choose the most loving response over everything else. And don't be afraid that it's not well received or well understood. It's good for your own peace to have that perspective. Okay?
Agreed. Thank you, Winston.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having Winston join us today and talk peace. And we will put a link to his website. So if you're interested in purchasing any of his books or learning more about him, you'll be able to access that link and reach out to him or purchase. So thank you, Winston. I'm going to put you in the green room. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Thank you, Janice. My pleasure.
So I'm excited because I do want to read The Power of Love, a model for self-healing and wellness. So I'm excited for that to be coming out next month. And if you want to learn more about the book, purchase the book, I will have that link up as part of this podcast today. And I want to thank everyone for joining us and have a wonderful day.